Hey everyone, so today we're diving into SWOT analysis. And look, I know what you're thinking. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We've all been there, done that. But what if I told you that in today's world, it's not some static checklist? What if it's actually a live, real-time tool for survival?
So let's just ask it straight up. Is SWOT just a simple textbook exercise? Because for a lot of us, yeah, it kind of is. It's one of the first things you learn in a business class, right? You fill out a simple grid, you put it in a binder, and that's it.
Well, here's the big idea. In the crazy fast service economy we live in now, that old model just doesn't work anymore. SWOT has become this continuous, real-time diagnostic tool. The best companies out there are using it constantly, just to keep up with a world that changes by the minute.
Okay, so before we get into what's new, let's do a super quick recap of the classic SWOT framework. You know, the one we all learned back in the day?
And there it is, the famous 2x2 grid. You know, its beauty is really in its simplicity. It makes you look in two directions at the same time. Inward, at your own company, the internal stuff, and outward, at the world around you, the external environment. Getting that balance right is, well, it's everything in strategic thinking.
So first up, you've got strengths. Think of these as your internal superpowers. They're the things you control and the things you do better than almost anyone else. Maybe it's a brand everyone trusts, a killer team that can solve anything, or just super efficient ways of doing things that save time and money. These are your crown jewels.
And on the flip side, of course, you've got your weaknesses. These are the internal roadblocks, the things that are holding you back. Maybe it's clunky, ancient technology, or crazy high costs that are eating away at your profit. This is the part where you have to be brutally honest with yourself about where you really need to step up your game.
Okay, now let's look outward to opportunities. These are like the favorable wins you can catch in the market. It could be a brand new technology you can jump on, a new market that's just opening up, or even a sudden shift in what customers are asking for. These are the doors that are swinging open for you.
And finally, threats. These are the external dangers that, yeah, can definitely keep you up at night. A new competitor that seems to come out of nowhere. A shaky economy, new regulations. These are the storm clouds on the horizon you've absolutely got to keep an eye on.
So that's the classic view. But now, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's dig into why this static grid has totally morphed into a live feed, especially in the service industry.
You see, unlike a factory that makes widgets, the service world is just different. The product is something you can't touch. It's made and used at the exact same moment. It all hinges on people interacting, and a lot of the time, the customer is helping create the service with you. That means your whole business environment can literally change from one customer to the next.
So here's the key takeaway. In a world that moves this fast, you can't just do a SWOT analysis once a year in a big meeting. No way. Managers have to be asking those 4 questions all the time. What are our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats right now, in this moment?
All right, let's make this feel real. Let's look at some actual examples of how some of the biggest service companies out there are using this live feed approach to stay ahead of the curve. This one is just a perfect illustration. Take Marriott. Their huge internal strength is that massive global brand and their loyalty program. But then, boom, an external threat emerges, Airbnb. Marriott has to constantly use its brand's strength to adapt, pouring money into its own digital tools and making its loyalty program even better to compete in this new world.
Or how about Ryanair? Their internal strength is an almost obsessive focus on low costs and efficiency. But they're in an industry where an external threat, like fuel prices suddenly spiking, can wipe out that advantage overnight. Their strategy isn't a static plan. It's a constant, day-to-day balancing act.
And this is true for the digital giants too. For Netflix, their key internal strength is their amazing tech and all the data they have. But that strength is always being put to the test by a huge external threat, powerful new competitors like Disney+. Their survival really depends on them using their tech to stay one step ahead all the time.
And one more, Uber Eats. Their strength is that massive platform and network effect, but they're facing this constant external threat from changing labor laws and government scrutiny. Dealing with that threat isn't an annual review for them. It's a core, daily part of their strategy.
So what's the point of all this constant scanning and reevaluating? Well, the ultimate goal is to achieve something called strategic alignment.
Strategic alignment is really just about getting the perfect fit between what your company does on the inside, your strengths and weaknesses, and what's happening on the outside, the opportunities and threats. It's making sure your engine is perfectly tuned for the road you're actually driving on.
And this is just so critical. I mean, you can have the best resources in the world, the greatest strengths you can imagine, but if they don't match what the market actually wants or needs right now, they're basically useless.
So let's bring this all together. It's really about reframing how we think about strategy. It's not about checking a box. It's about adopting a whole new mindset.
Look, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Stop thinking of SWOT as a noun, some static chart you put in a file. Start thinking of it as a verb. It's the action of constantly watching, learning, and adjusting to the world around you. And this quote from our source material just nails it. The winners aren't the biggest or the oldest companies. They're the ones who are the most self-aware and the most willing to adapt.
So I'll leave you with a final thought, something to chew on for your own work or your own company. Is your strategy a static snapshot, something you took once and framed, or is it a dynamic, real-time, live feed? Because in the world we live in today, the answer to that question, well, it could be everything.